Just something real quick. I just noticed your video just came in tonight, and I was watching it, and I realized that I have something in my house that you'll appreciate. I literally have a picture of Canada in my house. We went to Niagara Falls a couple years ago, and I took that picture, and my wife really liked it. So Monday Night Football, I blew it up and put it on a canvas for her. So also have a little bit of London as well, England. Okay, just real quick. First of all, it is -9 degrees Celsius out here. Have to get gas. Little crafting advice. You never tie your soaps to a soap cozy of dubious quality. That's day one stuff. You're gonna have to learn that if you're gonna make it in this world. That was cracking me up. She didn't want to cross promote because she thought your soap cozy may be subpar. Killing me. All right, got my gas, and it's later in the day on Tuesday. And I just want to reiterate, the lady who was worried about the quality of the soap cozies will never not be funny to me. I've been laughing about that all day. It is still cold out here, but let's see if you can identify something. I know you wore the Canadian hat, which I'm pretty sure is a Toronto Blue Jays alternate home hat. But anyway, see if you can identify that one. And I bet it's going to be the thumbnail by the time I'm done. But anyway, I'm killing time here. Supposed to be working. But I'm taking time off here at this little, it's like a little inlet of river, lake. Technically, I'm looking at the sign. It's just Jones Creek is what this is. But speaking of jobs, when I last left you, I was still in the balance about the job situation. Let me tell you how that turned out. I actually took the new job. It was a tough decision. It really was. The one I have now, I just kind of worried about, is it long term? I enjoy it. I enjoy the work, but you know, it's one of those, let's get to a point, settle down in an office, long term, look towards end of career, I guess you could say. So took that. I gave my notice. This is Tuesday. I gave my notice last Friday, and I waited till everybody in the office, we actually had a meeting, and I told them there. And of course my wife, you know, they're like, you told us all? I'm like, yeah, because I didn't want y'all to hear it secondhand. I wanted y'all to know exactly what the discussion was, what my boss made every, you know, opportunity, you know, she gave me, well, what will it take type thing. So at least you know the situation. No, I didn't just abandon them. So I kind of did it that way, so there'd be no gray area, be no misunderstanding, and I wouldn't have to explain it, you know, 12 different times. But anyway, I told them I'd work out the rest of the month. So especially since the end of the month is our Thanksgiving. I know you've already had yours. The last Thursday of the month is our Thanksgiving. So I'm going to work them through that. Plus the fact that I get, you know, paid for the holiday, which is bonus. You're talking about the Cardinals. We have tons of those things around here. I never really thought about it until you mentioned that. I can look out my back door and I think I probably got a 40% chance of seeing one out there. We get them a lot. Never heard the whole there's someone that passed on visiting the thing. That was new. But you were talking about you kind of believe in things like that, or you want to believe in things like that, really. is how I see it. Now, my grandmother, she was superstitious. Oh, Lord, she was superstitious. If a black cat crossed her path, if she was on her way to the emergency room, she'd have to find another hospital. She'd like, guess I'm just going to die because I'm not crossing that black cat's path. What's funny was, one of the things she had, I mean, she had like, you couldn't do laundry on New Year's Day. There's all kinds of things like that. And one of the things she said, always said, was, it's bad luck. Everything was bad luck. She never had anything that showed was good luck. Everything was bad luck. But one of them was, it's bad luck to cut a baby's hair until they're a year old. Okay. And my son, when he was born, he came out needing a haircut. Of course, I wouldn't let my wife cut it because, you know, you want to believe in those things. So, for like 9 months of the first year of his life, he had a little ponytail on top of his head, a little top knot. And when he turned 1, it was on a Sunday. Of course, barbershops are closed here on Sundays and Mondays. So my wife's like, well, I want the little ponytail. Can you just cut it off? So I just raised the ponytail up and just cut it straight across, and that hair fell perfect. The boy has not to this day had a haircut as good as that one little swipe I made with the scissors. Just blind luck. I don't know exactly, this little pull out where I'm at. It looks like maybe you can launch a boat from here type place, but there's a lot of trash around here too. You were talking about, yesterday was Veterans Day, and I guess y'all had something similar. I don't know if y'all call it Veterans Day. And you were talking about your grandfather being in World War I. That's pretty impressive. I mean, my grandmother was born in 1916. So, I mean, she was an infant during that First World War. But I got to tell you, and I've had a lot of relatives in the military, things like that. But I got to tell you my father's military history. My father may have been the smartest person I've ever known. But he was also he wasn't like nonconformist or anything like that. He was just, what mattered to him mattered, what didn't. Give you some idea, he didn't graduate high school because he had to take one test at the end of this one class. And he said it was never worth his effort to go back for that one test. And I wasn't going to spend a whole day there just for that one test. So he literally never graduated high school because of that. He joined the military. And they stationed him about, probably 25 miles up the road from where he lived. That was an Army base. This base is still there, but it's not an active base anymore. Although it does have a museum, the barber shop in that Army base is a museum because that's where Elvis got his military haircut, and they preserved it. It's the Elvis Presley Barber Museum or something like that. So anyway, they stationed him up there. Well, Friday, he would just hitchhike home. And this was back in, he graduated early 60s. And he would hitchhike home, and he'd stay there the weekend. Monday, the military police would come get him, take him back up there. He'd spend a few days in the stockade. And then Friday, it'd just repeat. Well, finally they figured out that wasn't going to work. They were going to ship him somewhere else. So he said he had these two old men, these two old military police came up there, and they were sending him to a Army base in Louisiana. He said those two old men came up there, they handcuffed him, they had sack lunches, they had drinks in the cooler. They made sure they didn't have to stop for anything but gas. They treated him like they had public enemy number one. This dude was a military prisoner, so he must be bad to the bone. He said they didn't talk to him the whole way. They didn't talk to each other. They were serious. Drove him straight down there, got to that base, took him to the commanding officer, Gave him the keys to handcuff. The guy says, hey, have you eaten lunch? My dad said, no. He unlocked him. He said, we'll run over there and get some lunch. So my dad goes trotting over there and he walks right by those guys, and oh dear Lord, they thought he would escape. They were trying to chase him down. So he's down to Louisiana, and they said, okay, this is just a stopping point. He said, we're actually sending you to an Army base in Kansas. They give him a bus ticket. I said, okay, we'll take you to the bus station, drop you off. You go get on this bus, report to Kansas. He said, okay. They took him to the police, or the bus station, dropped him off. He traded in his ticket for one back to Arkansas, back home. So he came back home. That was the last he ever heard of the military. They never contacted him. He never contacted them. It was just, I guess they were just mutual. So that's my military heritage right there from my father. I guess technically he was AWOL, or technically he was still active for his whole life. I don't know. But when he passed away 5 years ago, wow, my sister and I were at the funeral home, and they're kind of filling in the little deal to put in a obituary in the paper. And of course, we had heard this story growing up our whole lives. And the guy asked me, okay, was he in the military? And we both kind of look at each other like, do we really want to say anything? And so finally, my sister's like, well, he was, but it wasn't the time he was happy with, so let's just leave that out. Oh man, the wind is kicking up. So back to the job thing real quick. One of the things I'm actually killing time is I have to go do my my orientation today. So hence you'll notice the shaving, the haircut, and all that stuff, because I never because they do a photo ID, and I never like to look like my photo ID. That way when my hair grows back out, beard grows out, everything, and people look at my ID, they think, oh, you must have been here a while. That's an old photo. This selfie stick is getting so cold, man, it's hard to hold. I may have to relocate. There was one thing I was going to ask you. I know you're not in the far east part of Canada, but French. Do you speak French? And is that one of those things, you know, taught in school, kind of like, I don't want to say as a mandatory class, but is it real prevalent in school? I know I went to a small high school. I mean, my graduating class was like 36, small. And when I was in about 7th, 8th grade, they had a Spanish class. You could take Spanish. 2 years is all you could take of it. And when I was in, like I said, about 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade, that was the first year they had it. So foreign languages was not a big deal in my school. But America actually does not have an official language. Whereas I believe y'all do, right? French and English are y'all's official languages. Or am I just wrong about that? I gotta admit, I didn't study a lot of Canadian history or politics. Speaking of which, I don't know, I mean, again, if I asked the next 10 people that drive down this highway to tell me the president, prime minister, or king of Canada, they couldn't tell me which one it was or their name. I guarantee it, 10 out of 10 couldn't. But I bet most people know who President of America is. So my question is, every time we have an election, you have celebrities. If so-and-so's wins, I'm moving to Canada. As Canadians, do y'all go, no, we don't want you? Stop thinking we're your second choice. I mean, does y'all look at that like, y'all people just morons? Or do y'all look at that like, hey, come on up. I always wondered. I mean, it cracks me up like that's the threat. If I don't get my way, I'm moving to Canada. I just love to see Canadian people go, yeah, not really welcome. All right. Notice I keep walking under this tree. It is chilly at the moment. So, seriously, this selfie stick is freezing my hand. So, I'm going to move to somewhere warmer. I'll talk to you in a minute. A quick note. You've really got me curious now if the grapes were still there. I didn't even think about looking. I'm gonna have to go back just to see. That's been killing me ever since you brought it up. So I whine about being cold, so I come to a coffee shop and order a cold coffee. All right, trying to wrap up my day in this video. I just left my future job. Just went through orientation, which really means I signed my name, put in my address and social security number 1,000,000 times. Hey, do y'all have a social security number? Or any type of, whoa, just knocked my thing off. Any type of ID number, like our social security number? Never thought about that, but I guess social security number is an American thing. See, that's the problem with being American. You just assume everybody does the same thing or the same style as you do. I'll make it a little more secure there. It's not straight, but maybe I'll just lean the whole time. But, okay. You were talking about, I'm still going back to it because I've been watching your video, and you were talking about, your crafting, which I like that you're taking it serious, or trying to get into it more. I think that's awesome. You were talking about the last time you went, you had your booth, really on point, set up, looked nice. My issue with that is if it's stuff I made, now if it was stuff I was selling, I'll just put it out there. I'm like, yeah, buy it or not, whatever. But if it's stuff I made, I'd be feeling like that was every person that walked up there was kind of like judging me, my work. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, it'd be really awkward for them to come up there. Even if I knew it was good, it'd be nerve-wracking to me. Of course, I say that, and I'm sure everybody that started a craft booth, when they first started, they felt that, people come up to them, or are they going to like it type thing. Is my soap cozy going to be up to par for the soap lady? But that'd be my problem. I'd be real self-conscious about it. Now, what I'd have to do is if I created some crafts, I'd have to have somebody work the table. I'd need a face for the business type thing. I know when my daughter was making the wine glasses, the candles, wine glass candles, she would want me to, well, by the time it was done, I was doing most of the work, but I'm like, there's no way that I am going to be, my picture being, I need a little Debbie, a mascot or something to be in front of. But you seem to really enjoy that type of crowd. So that's, obviously right in your alley. Trying to think what else you discussed. I think I covered most of the things you had in yours. Oh, you were talking about your children. And you said you had a little girl that's in 2nd grade. I have 2 of my grandsons, I think I've actually mentioned, that actually live with me, that we legally have custody of. And that's not we had to take the kids. It was literally my son-in-law. He wanted to go do his thing. My daughter said, I just am not in a place to take care of them. Said, can y'all basically keep them? And we said, fine. And then that's what we did. Said, listen, it's too much of a pain for us to get them to doctor's appointments, things like that, enrolled in school, and all the legal things we need to do without us being legal guardians. Because we'd have to, go to her and say, hey, we need you to sign this. We need you to come here to do this. She's still involved, but not on a day-to-day basis. She sees them every week. And so, because it was such a pain to do that, we said, listen, let's just do the paperwork, make us legal guardians, and we'll do it. So, and it's kind of worked out. Her problem is what happened was she went through a bout of drugs. And she's made it past that, and she's on it, but she's honestly just not mature enough. It's better for us and the kids. She's trying to keep straight, and she's doing a really great job of it and do her thing. But that much responsibility piled on her. It's just better we didn't. So the reason I have those 2 grandkids. One of them, you said your daughter is in the 2nd grade. One of the grandsons, he's in 2nd grade. His birthday, I think he will turn 8. Is that right? I think he will turn 8 next month, but he's in 2nd grade. The other one is in 5th grade. He just turned 11. So I think that's what you said about a couple of ranges there. And my son, of course, he lives with us. He's 17. He keeps saying his plan is join the Marines, but I think and he still says that's his plan. But as he's getting closer, I think he's really starting to maybe second guess himself, really. I keep coughing. Probably that has to do with constantly getting hot and cold all day. This has been a day. Back to the job thing. Once I put in my notice Friday, I have been catching crap. So apparently it caused a couple of people to cry when I quit. It's a small office, and everybody really likes each other. It's really a good place, but again, kind of think of the future, how it's going to be. So, but they've been giving me crap. Little things like, oh, we're going to do a drawing for the Secret Santa. Not you. Just little jabs. And I finally tell them, that 2 weeks notice is really just a courtesy. Like, that ain't funny. So that's been my day. Being made fun of. And weirdly enough, when I went to that orientation, I didn't realize it, but the lady clocked me in. And clocked me in. Of course, like I said, the orientation, it was about, really, it wasn't even an hour. It was 30 minutes of me signing my name, taking a couple of tests. And she clocked me back out. So which means, technically my first day was today. So I actually have 2 jobs at the moment. Keep asking me when my first day of work is. Apparently it was today. Had to rehydrate. One thing I did look up. You mentioned that you were getting about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. So I did convert that. According to Alexa, 10 centimeters is 3.9 inches. It's actually quite a bit of snow. What's funny is I remember as a kid, when I was in school, really between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you could guarantee that we were going to get out a couple of days from school. And after Christmas, from that, in January and even in February, we would be out weeks at a time at school. But my son, he probably hasn't missed probably 5 days of school his entire career. It just doesn't snow, and it's always, a little bit of snow. And living in the country, a lot of our kids live on dirt roads. basically the foot of mountain ranges, a lot of people live on really bad dirt roads. So if we get any type of ice or snow, they just don't do it to go to school. You know, the buses going up some of these mountain roads just ain't happening. So, but I remember when the snow would be, you know, Canada snow, I'm assuming, feet deep. You know, we'd get 2 feet of snow. I haven't seen that in a long time. And I ain't sure my kids have ever seen that. Even my oldest one, possibly, but not more than a couple times in their life. So, you said about 70% of the time you get a white Christmas. Ours is more like maybe 10% of the time we get a white Christmas. Probably, I mean, right around there. You know, we maybe get 3 out of 10. We may only get 1 out of 10. I would bet about 10% of the time we get a white Christmas. Like I said, I remember back in the day getting white Thanksgivings. Let's see. I think I covered the crafts things. And do y'all have farmers markets? You talk a lot about these craft shows, especially on soap and things like that. Farmers markets are big around here. Of course, maybe not this time of year. Although, if you do look up War Eagle, there is a place that way, a couple hours, called War Eagle Mill. It was an old water mill that ground wheat. They still do. It's still a working mill that they will make flour and grain and things like that. Every year they have a craft show up there. It's, from what I've heard, I've never been to it, but it's supposed to be huge. It's an outdoor thing. Like I said, I know a couple people from work went this year. I think my daughter went this year. Like I said, it's probably the biggest one around here that I can think of, especially in an outdoor, just mainly crafts. Every time I think of craft show, I went to, I always reflect, I went to one, a guy, there's always that person who makes stuff out of wood. One of the big things you see is cutting boards now, and they make some really cool ones. I'd love to have one of those. But they would make like rocking horses and little rocking chairs and things like that back in the day. And this guy had one, he had a bunch of those things laying around, and he had a sign that he had carved out of wood or burned into wood or whatever. And it said, yeah, you probably could make it, but we both know you won't. Because I was thinking, you know how many guys have walked up through there, the woman, oh, I love that. The guy's like, I can make that. Yeah, you probably can, but you probably won't. I bet that guy heard it 1,000,000 times. But back to it. Like I said, most of the stuff though, you know, the soaps, what else people do? Oh, a lot of preserves or jellies and things like that. The last one I was at, I bought a apple coffee jelly, and the woman didn't use any sugar. I think she made all of her jellies without sugar. She used honey. So it was actually honey, apple, and coffee. I actually got a couple of hers. They were pretty good. And that's another thing we get tons of, is honey. A lot of people have bees in this neighborhood, or this rural community. So you get a lot of bee manufacturers. What's funny is the town I just left, that way, there is a big, I don't know what you call it, beekeeper supply store for all your beekeeping needs. Of course, there's also like 5 different poultry supply places. Well, it's kind of a weird segue, but this area, is eat up with chicken houses. They, of course, right up the road, there's the home of Tyson Food. Don Tyson actually came from right up the road there, a couple hours. So chicken houses are everywhere. You'll see when the weather actually gets nicer. I mean, here we are at the beginning of winter, and I'm always looking for nicer. And I haven't annoyed you to the point where you ghost me. I'll actually take the camera out on my motorcycle, and I will show you a lot prettier places. Now, that's one thing. I know you live up city, really. I mean, closer to a major city than I do. So anytime you take a trip there, just a peek would be cool. Let's see. What else did we hit up? Oh, I remember last video, or not the one you sent last night, but the one before, we actually talked about liquor stores. How liquor is a strange thing, and it's really state by state and county by county. For example, the county I just left, I saw the county line in a liquor store. It made me think of it. It's a dry county. You can't sell anything except a club or restaurant can sell pretty much anything. And the county I'm in now can sell wine and beer in gas stations, convenience stores, grocery stores, things like that, but not hard liquor. The county I live in, I go through a lot of counties. It's like a 54-mile trip to work back. But the county I live in, there's really no limitations what it can sell. It has straight up liquor stores. And I know my camera's getting dark. The sun's going down. In case you're wondering, it's 5:31 right now, and the sun's going down. But the hard liquor, literally anything can be sold that. But it can only be sold in certain places. For example, a convenience store and a grocery store and a Walmart, they can't sell hard liquor. Now, hard liquor, I guess there's you're talking bourbon, rum, vodka, things like that. Basically anything above wine, beer and wine. Dang. Now, again, that's state by state and county by county. Up in Branson, Missouri, and if you've ever done anything redneck or kitsch in this country, it's done in Branson, Missouri. Yeah, Google that. I was kind of wigged out because that's the first time I'd ever went into a Walmart, because I don't care where I travel in this country, I got to go to Walmart. I went into a Walmart and they had just lines of literally hard liquor, Jack Daniels, all that stuff, Canadian Mist. Oh, speaking of, I'm sidetracked here, squirrel. But so a girl I work with, she was all excited because apparently she found out there's a grocery store that sells Canadian clear water. She said she remembers it when she was a kid. She didn't think they made it anymore. They had all these different flavors. She was so jazzed about it. And she went there at lunch and got one, and she was drinking it. She's like, this is terrible. She said, I guess I was just romanticizing the memory of it. She said, I don't remember it being this bad. She said, I don't like this. But maybe think of you, Canadian clear water. I don't know if y'all have that or if that's just a marketing gimmick. Anyway, back to the liquor in Branson, Missouri. I go to Walmart and they have a hard liquor there. That's the first time I'd ever really seen that. What's funny is they had it literally just sitting there on the shelf where, Walmart, you can pick it up and drink it. Of course, they're gonna find you. But anyway, all of them were just sitting there except for Hennessy. Hennessy was the one thing they the top of it that you couldn't open it. And, you know, a $90 bottle of Maker's Mark, it's right there. That $10 bottle of Hennessy got a lock on it. Not a big enough drinker of those things to know what that implied. I don't know if there's a group, if that's a thing with kids. I don't know what the deal is, but kind of cracked me up either way. But trying to think anything else. Oh, speaking of liquor and my job, which I seem to be doing a lot about this time. Of course, that's kind of been my consuming me this week, you know, the whole swapping over job thing, and kind of letting them know, blah blah blah. So we have one secretary. She was tore up when I let them know that I quit, and she was mad. So the next county over, I was out doing stuff, and I wasn't too far from the next county over, and I went by a liquor store, and I bought her a bottle of bourbon. She'd always been a wine drinker. One of the other secretaries, customer service representatives, not secretaries, customer service representatives. But anyway, she'd always drank wine, and one of the other CSRs introduced her to bourbon, and she was really liking that, and she's trying these different ones, and she's kind of getting into it, not alcoholic, but taste test type thing. And I know this is getting really dark. I don't know if that made it better or worse, but anyway, so I bought her this bottle of bourbon, and the reason I bought it for her, because the name of it has my last name. And I walked in, and I kind of had it under my coat. And I walked up to her, she said, she's mad. I mean, mad. She said, there's nothing, she said, you can say to me right now. I pulled that bottle out, man, and she just burst into tears. She's so happy, you know. She said, I can't believe you did this. It's so nice. Everything. Gave me a hug. Told me how much she's going to miss me. It was kind of touching. Booze, see? The answer to everything. Yeah, we say, hey, we actually kind of owe you Canadians for the whole booze during our prohibition during the 20s and 30s, and really everybody thinks the illegal, you know, steals and stuff like that, but most of the illegal, or I guess the alcohol that came into this country at that time came from Canada. So thank you. Tell your grandfather, who fought in World War I. Thank you. People like him gave us the booze. And growing up, I always thought that was War War I, War War II. I don't know why they're saying the word war twice. War War. I just thought it was really weird. And I was probably, I was 15 before I found out it was World War. Kind of says something about the U.S. education system, don't it? Now it says more about me than anything. So I know I'm just rambling now, but honestly, that's how you get to know somebody. The more, I guess, I talk, the more you decide, you know, you say, kind of, that's why, you know, even, you know, you're talking about the crafts and walking around showing that, it's showing your personality. I think it's great. Even the little story about the bird. Although, as funny as you literally said, you like, and you said, hey, there's a red bird. I thought, I never said that. But your segue was right there. You were like quoting me, then mentioned the bird. I'm like, I don't remember saying that. Then it kind of clicked. I got in context when you went on about the bird. That was slow, but I caught it. Oh! I probably still won't be talking because it's probably another 20 minutes. But I'm going to stop and show you something on my way home here. I just realized what I'm going through. And it's kind of the whole London thing. Yeah, I showed you the London sign. We have one too. And I go through that little town, and it's, by little town I mean, they have a post office. I think they have a Dollar General, and that's about it. Hey, do y'all have Dollar Generals? It's a little convenience store without the gas pumps. In America, at least down here in the South, a convenience store is a gas station. All right. If you have pumps to get gas and you sell merchandise, and I'm not talking about socks and things like that. I'm talking about basically you have gas pumps and snacks, really. You have a little bit of canned food, but that's really about it. You have drinks, candy, chips, about 3 hours worth of beef jerky. You know, that's pretty much a convenience store. Things like a Dollar General, which is actually a convenience store as opposed to going to a large department store. It's a smaller department. We don't really refer to those as convenience stores, although that's exactly what they are. Those are usually called by name. When we're driving, if we just want to stop and get something to drink, we'll say, we don't say stop at the gas station. Weirdly enough, if you need to pee while traveling, we'll say stop at the gas station. I need to pee. But if we want to get something, drinks or anything like that, say, hey, stop at a convenience store. Now, those stores without the gas pumps are always said by name. And that ain't just a my family thing. Everybody I've known growing up, and that may be this area, for the same reason, you know, in America, depending on where you're at, a Coke is either called a Coke, a soda, pop, cola, and they're regional. And like down here in the South, man, the hater's killing me. Down here in the South, all soft drinks are referred to as Coke. For example, you pull up, say, I'm going to the store to get something to drink. You want something? Yeah, give me a Coke. Okay, what do you want? Dr. Pepper? That's a normal conversation here. All soft drinks are referred to as Coke. But the convenience stores, now the stores, one's like, we have Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and it's not really Dollar Tree, Dollar General, all have dollar in them. Those are always referred to by name. Hey, I'm going to run out to the convenience store. You want anything? Or, hey, I'm going to run down to Dollar General. You want anything? They're literally across the road from each other, but we have weird designations like that. So back to, do y'all have Dollar Generals? They were never really a thing growing up. They were always around, but it was one of those Dollar Generals where you went when you were too broke to go to Walmart. Yeah, too broke to go to Walmart. But now they've really come on any place they can find an acre of land, man. They're building a Dollar General on. And they built one down the road from my house, which my whole life had been nothing but an intersection with two convenience stores, i.e. gas stations. Weirdly enough, a gas station is a place where basically they just sell gas and also do repairs on cars. They're almost a thing of the past, really. Offhand, I can think of about 2, 3 that I know of where they actually have a garage and they work on the car and sell gas. But anyway, going up, there's an intersection with a couple of convenience stores, and they put a Dollar General in there. And it's about 5 minutes from my house. Out in nowhere, really. And we always talked about, man, who in the world's going to go to this? Go to it all the time. Not as much as I go to Walmart, but still. You know, brand loyalty, Walmart. So, And you kept talking, oh, you're talking about turning your thing around. I don't think mine has an option to turn around. If it did, I'd show you a convenience store. I'm fixing to drive by. So I don't know if that's, I'm assuming that's a quirk of this growing up in the South. You know, we invented y'all because you all was too difficult for us, and just a general you, as in plural, confused us. Welcome to the South. Land of cotton. Which, weirdly enough, we have no cotton fields right around me. Oh, speaking of which, I meant to show you, but it got odd. I go to a post office today, and they have a mural on one wall. And the mural, it looked like it'd been up there probably the 40s, 50s, something like that. And it's basically 3 or 4 separate scenes, all mashed together. And it's literally a cotton field, a man holding a bag of cotton, the cotton being weighed. It's a whole scene, basically from planning to manufacture of cotton. And everybody working in that field, and that guy, the big centerpiece was the guy holding a bag of cotton. All the workers were black. I'm like, how in the world, in the woke society we live in today, is that still on a federal building? I was stunned. What kept me from showing it to you, I was going to take a little video in front of it and say, this does no longer represent the South. But what stopped me was when I pulled in, a cop stopped behind my car. I got out. He stopped behind a car as I was getting out. Then he parked beside me. I thought, okay, he's just coming to the post office too. Didn't think much about it. And I'm in there waiting in line, and he hasn't come in. He hasn't come in. And finally, he does come in, and he just goes and checks his mailbox. And he's come back. I said, man, don't do that anymore. Don't do that. He's like, what'd I do? I said, you park behind me and watch me walk in, or you stop behind me and watch me walk in, then park beside me, sit out there. I'm like, okay, is he waiting for me to come out to arrest me? He's like, do I need to? I'm like, I ain't volunteering nothing. But that's what kept me from showing you the incredibly racist mural. Speaking of which, and I was. So I go to this, it's not a nursing home, it's an assisted living place, is what it is. Basically, they're apartments, and they have aides and stuff on staff to help these elderly. But it's, I go there, and this is a photo on the wall, or it's not a photo, it's a painting on the wall. And the next time I go, I'm going to have to show you this painting. It kills me. I've taken like 3 different people there to see it. It's a big painting, and I guess it's fairly recent. It has like 6 people in it, something like that. And they're all Hispanic people. I mean, it's a cartoon. They have everything but a big sombrero. Actually, I think one of them does have a sombrero. They got the big Pancho Villa mustaches and all that stuff. Just the woman has the flowing dress. Just stereotypical what you think of as old school Mexico and the old Western movies. Okay, that's absolutely fine. But in the painting, it's raining. And first of all, a couple of people are like holding like nacho chips for some reason. But it's raining, and it's raining avocado halves. Like slit open avocados, and they're bouncing off people in their heads. Ow! And I can't help but think, and they're saying, ay caramba. But somebody painted this Hispanics with avocados raining on them. And somebody thought that was okay to hang up in this assisted living place. And I understand this generational thing. One of the residents may have painted it because my father used to hire these people. It's funny. How in the world did this turn into racism in the South? I don't know. So I'm just going to walk away from that. Ooh, speaking of that, I don't know if how much of America you've ever seen, or I'm assuming because you're so close to the border that you kind of grew up on the same movies and everything that I did, because I would say that seems pretty normal, but then again, we're not that far from the other border, Mexico border. And I've talked to people, and I worked with a lot of them who are actually born in Mexico. The girl that I gave the alcohol to, she's actually from Mexico. But they didn't grow up with the same movies and everything that, you know, the same culture, even right crossing the border. So, assuming Canadians did, could be kind of naive, I guess. I mean, I know there's always been a lot more open border up north than it has been south. I'm going by a PlayStation here. But I'm assuming there's a lot more similar cultural between U.S. Canada as opposed to U.S. and Mexico. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never really seen anything Canadian that seemed just, well, other than the mayonnaise on the fries thing, that just seems so far-fetched. And I cannot blame, man. I had steak fries today, big, thick fries. I had a perfect opportunity to mayonnaise them up and did not do it. I just completely slipped my mind. Oh, I feel like a fool. And it's funny, as I said, I wouldn't be talking when I got to what I wanted to show you, but if this car would get out of my way, I'd be really close to. I'll turn my light off here since we're in town. And I'm pretty sure a cop pulled up behind me. But I said I wouldn't be talking when I got to up here to show you what I was going to show you, but I lied. I was mistaken. There you go. That sounds better. Okay, that's a pharmacy you see behind me. That's not. I was thinking that was a Dollar General stop. But when I go by here, this is a convenience store. There's gas pumps. You'll see it over here. There's gas pumps. But when you go inside, they, you know, snacks. Some of them have a little deli. And the one that's fixing to show up here, that one is a Casey's. I don't know if y'all have Casey's, but those things just exploded recently. And they're big, really nice. They have actually little, not really restaurants inside them, but they have a little kitchen there. They make food, make their own food. They have lunch. I guess it is a restaurant. I guess that kind of defines a restaurant. But anyway, they've really exploded out of nowhere in the last couple of years. So I'm a big fan of them too, because they have a lot of quirky foods and drinks that. Ooh, I want to look to see if they have Smarties. You see, I'm driving through a little town, and this will be a lot neater during the day on days. But I don't know if you can turn right on a red light in Canada, but you can in America. Except this guy doesn't seem to know it. Circling the block so I can park on the correct side so you can see what I don't know how we're going to see it because it's dark. It is lit up to a point, but I'll show you this. This kind of goes into the London thing, sort of. It will make sense here in just a minute. I'm going to see if I can get my phone out without stopping the video. Look at me go. And apparently the video just split into two videos. It said maximum size reached. But Eiffel Tower. Because I am in Paris. France, obviously, which goes back to the question about whether or not you speak French. It's funny, is I was actually born. What in the world I just did? I was actually born in this town of Paris. So, I'm Parisian. But it's got a little lot in it. I know I've been to a couple of replica Eiffel Towers. They have one in Paris, Texas. It's a lot bigger than that one. That one's, I don't know, 20 feet tall, maybe 25 feet tall. But they have one in Paris, Texas, a lot bigger than that. And they have a red cowboy hat on it, on top of it. Then they have one in Paris, Tennessee. I've seen those. They have also one in Las Vegas I've never seen. But Paris. Gay Prairie. More like Meth Head Perry. This one at least. Okay, this has been a kind of a weird rambling video. Had kind of been a long one too. Sorry about that. But then again, you don't have to watch it all. You can fast forward through it. I won't know. I'll know. And give you something to talk about. Because really, you know, that's kind of one of the purposes of doing this. One, definitely get to know somebody else, get to know a different area of the world, and give you somebody to talk to. I'm good with that. I know, I'm just kind of stretching it out just for stretching's sake. I never really know how to end them, so I'm going to say apologize for the rambling and the darkness and the noise of the car and all that. So I'm gonna let you go, and I think that's it. Yeah. Alright, I'll talk to, oh wait, just in case your answer is yes. Au revoir. Au revoir. Salut.